Welcome back. Tornadoes are typically the first thing that comes to mind when we think of Kansas weather.
And severe storms come in many shapes and forms, but work is being done to make the impact less severe.
Hail can be incredibly damaging to homes, businesses, and vehicles. Meteorologist Lucy Dahl introduces us to a study that happened right here on the plains.
Last summer, more than 100 scientists came together for the largest hail study ever.
IceChip stands for the In Situ Collaborative Experiment for the Collection of Hail in the Plains.
Dr. Becky Adams-Saline was the principal investigator of IceChip.
Essentially, it was the goal was to be a truly comprehensive look at observing everything from hail forming in the cloud to when it falls out of the ground and causes damage. We had about 7,000 plus hailstone measurements that we took over the course of the campaign.
So go to Ropesville and probably, obviously it depends if the surge is south.
Yeah.
Forensic engineer, meteorologist, and storm-chasing veteran, Tim Marshall is familiar with hail damage. When approached to participate in IceChip, the research crew needed him to intercept storms.
We got a vehicle, a truck, and put engineers had put a shield over it at NIU, and then they tested it before we actually field tested it, and they dropped baseballs on it, and it did great.
Oh, there's some big guys there. All big guys coming here.
We didn't lose a windshield the entire project.
Once a target was picked, the IceChip team quickly set up before the storm's direct arrival.
That's where the ground teams actually go out, lay down all their instrumentation in the path of the storm, and then get the heck out of the way, which we were very good at.
Hey, we gotta go.
As soon as it's at all possibly safe, we come back and then actually collect the hail.
A little stone back there.
Within a few hours of collection, the hailstones were measured and recorded before they started to melt.
Would involve things like measuring the hail on 3 different axes, crushing it to see how hard the hail was, so how much impact it would have when it fell.
There were many different ways of measuring the hail's impact. One part of the project involved testing what type of materials were hail resistant, seeing how different types of roofing shingles took a hit.
And they actually do have racks of shingles that they bring with them and set out as part of the thing in the path of the hailstorm. So they can see, do impact-based shingles, do they truly handle damage better, etc.
Another part of IceChip was how the storm setup relates to the size of the hail produced.
One of the big unknowns in this project, and we're trying to solve it, is what's the correlation between what radar sees and what we actually see on the ground?
A C-band radar on wheels, or COW, accompanied the study. Hunter Martinez Buer was one of the students who assisted with the mobile radar.
With the radar team, I know some of the main goals was to see if we could track hail growth and development within the storm, and radars were a huge part of that, as well as collecting other data along in the storms to see if it can help with nowcasting and potential forecasting in future storms and events.
We're learning some things about how the hail size distribution being produced by the storm varies over the course of the storm. It does a lot. And it varies both in time as the storm evolves and in space, just over the distance away from the storm. And that's something that we hadn't really known anything about before because we just didn't have the observations.
The hope is to ask more questions based off what we learned and conduct more hail research in the future.
Observation still plays a role in science. And as long as taxpayers are willing to fund that, we can still learn and warn and get better at it.
This type of study hadn't been done in over 30 to 40 years. Being able to do this, collect new data, answer new questions that have risen since that time, I think is very worthwhile to invest in and to fund and to study and to learn from.
Until then, the main way to help out with hail research is to send in storm reports.
Trying to understand how hail changes over the lifetime of a storm or over distance away from the storm or as it evolves. We got to have multiple reports from a storm, not just one. So anything that you're able to share with us is just really appreciated.
The biggest way that you can help, report the size of any hail at your location to us here at KSN or your local National Weather Service office. You can do so by emailing us through our website at Connect 3 Now under the About Us tab at ksn.com. We'll be back after this.